Welcome to the Deep Dive by Outlier, where we uncover the market's hidden trends and give you the edge you need. Head on over to ovtlyr.com right now to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. Now let's jump right in.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, well, imagine you're walking into, one of those high stakes meetings about the global economy and everyone's looking at you for the latest on Asian markets.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing today, giving you the rundown. We've got CNBC's live Asia Pacific coverage straight from December 2nd, 2024. And of course, we've got those stock picks that everyone's always asking about: Goldman Sachs, Scotiabank, you name it. So are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it. It's really interesting to see how Wall Street is impacting markets across the globe. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ both hit record highs. Are those gains a sign of real economic strength or just kind of a temporary thing?
Right. And it seems like Asia Pacific markets are kind of following that lead, at least for now. CNBC is reporting that most major markets opened higher today, mirroring those U.S. gains. But the numbers from Japan are really something. The Nikkei 225 jumped by 1.6%.
Yeah, that's a pretty big jump. But it's not just Japan. Australia's S&P ASX 200 is also up by 0.71%. It really seems like investors are feeling optimistic, hoping for a global economic recovery. Of course, we can't forget about inflation, but for now, things are looking cautiously optimistic.
I like that, cautious optimism. But speaking of inflation, South Korea is kind of a puzzle right now. Their inflation rate went up to 1.5% in November, higher than October, but still lower than what economists predicted. What do you think about that?
Well, it definitely makes things more complicated, especially with the Bank of Korea making those back-to-back rate cuts. If inflation keeps going up, they might have to change course, and that could affect the whole region. Policymakers are trying to find that balance, how to keep the economy growing without letting inflation get out of control.
It makes you wonder what goes on in those big meetings. Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about dividend stocks. CNBC Pro analysts are suggesting a certain Canadian financial company that seems like a good opportunity.
Yeah, Scotiabank seems to think this stock is undervalued. It's offering a 5% dividend yield that the market seems to be overlooking. It shows how important it is to have experts analyzing the market, especially for finding hidden opportunities.
5%. I bet our listeners are dying to know which company it is. But unfortunately, we can't give away all the secrets. It just goes to show how expert insights can give you an advantage. Speaking of experts, Goldman Sachs just updated their list of top global stock picks for December, and I hear they're making some bold predictions.
Bold might be an understatement. They're really bullish on 3 specific stocks, saying they could potentially go up by over 40% in the next 12 months. That's a 40% return on your investment. Now, obviously, no one knows the future for sure, but it highlights how following expert analysis could really pay off.
Absolutely. 40% returns would make for a happy new year. But let's not forget about our own markets. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ Composite both hit record highs just yesterday, December 1st. What do you make of these continued rallies in the U.S.?
It seems like investors have confidence in the U.S. economy. But we need to look at the bigger picture, too. Inflation and possible interest rate changes are still unpredictable. And those could have a big impact, not just in the U.S., but globally.
Exactly. Those global connections are important. There's definitely a lot to process.
For sure. And looking ahead to the next few weeks and months, the big question is, how are these trends going to play out? Will the global economy keep recovering? Will we get inflation under control? Will the Fed raise rates? These are the things that are going to shape what happens in the financial world in 2025 and beyond.
It's a lot to keep track of, even for people who've been investing for a while. So what would you tell someone like our listeners who are trying to figure all this out and maybe make some good decisions about their own investments?
I think the most important thing is to stay curious and keep learning. Don't just read the headlines, really try to understand what's happening behind the scenes, what's driving the markets. And there's so much information out there to help you.
Yeah.
You've got expert analysis, economic reports, market trends. It's just a matter of knowing where to look.
That's what we're here for. Trying to make sense of it all and bring you those expert insights so you don't have to do all the digging yourself.
Exactly. And don't forget about those dates. We talked about the November payrolls report and the Fed's meeting. Those are going to be really important for understanding what's going to happen with the markets, both here and around the world.
Definitely big ones to watch.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've covered a lot today. Those Asian markets doing so well, those interesting stock picks, those key economic indicators. Oh, and don't forget, strength begets strength.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's been a really interesting deep dive today, and I hope our listeners are feeling a little more comfortable navigating these markets. I mean, they're exciting, but they can be a little unpredictable sometimes.
True. And remember, even the experts don't have all the answers. We're all kind of learning as we go. So to everyone listening out there, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and until next time, happy investing.
Hey, thanks so much for deep diving with us today. Head on over to outlier.com. That's OVTLYR.com to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. And we'll see you next time.